Welcome to Spenny and the Nets. I am your host, Spen Harris, and I am joined this week by the man, the myth, the legend, the boy with no penis, Nick Shanman. Nick, welcome to the pod.
The clown has no penis. What's that from? Old school?
Maybe the hang. I don't know. You're gonna have to look that one up. For those who don't know, this is a Brooklyn
Step Brothers.
Step Brothers. There you go. He's sleepwalking. This is a Brooklyn Nets podcast where me 100% of the time, Nick, let's call it 65% of the time, we talk about the Brooklyn Nets in great length, talk a little bit about the NBA overall. We'll talk about some finals. For those listening to the podcast via audio, Nick is wearing a shirt that says Nets and Devils and Broncos and Red Sox. So, Nick, you want to explain that one to the fans?
Yeah, it's all four of my favorite teams. And I honestly think there's no other human being that's four favorite teams are the Brooklyn Nets, the New Jersey Devils, the Denver Broncos, and the Boston Red Sox. Find me another person with those four favorite teams, and I'll Venmo you $1,000 today.
Are you still a Broncos fan after the whole Russell Wilson debacle?
Yeah, I fucking hate Russell Wilson, baby. Give us Bo Nix for the win.
Aren't you a Giants fan, though? He's our starter this year.
No, I'm not a Giants fan. I just sympathize with the Giants because you like the Giants.
That's really nice of you. All right, we got a lot to get to today. We're going to get started with the NBA Finals. It's almost over, and it's been shockingly, I think, this is a surprise to a lot of NBA fans. It's been one of the more entertaining finals in recent memory.
It was. The Pacers blew it.
Still is. I mean, we're not. So we've already. I had Stephen Shea on the show last week from Barstool Sports. Me and him talked a lot about the first three games in length. So today, me and Nick are going to talk about games 4 and 5, and we're going to start, Nick, with game 4. The Thunder win on the road, 111-104. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, story in this game, 35 points, 10 of 10 from the free throw line, 12 of 24 from the field. He absolutely closed the deal.
Zero assists.
Down the street.
He had
zero assists, which is a crazy stat. But he closed the deal in this one, Nick. Some really tough buckets. And down the stretch.
An obvious push-off.
I don't know how obvious it was. The refs didn't call it.
Oh, wow. Refs didn't call it. Guess they're right.
Listen, after the game, Rick Carlisle, he defended Scott Foster, a.k.a. the extender. And he said, and let's be real, okay? The Pacers, while they have a very, very good team, they really don't have a bona fide bucket getter other than Pascal Siakam, who's, I don't know, would you call Pascal Siakam a top 10 scorer in the league? I don't think so. He was non-existent in that fourth quarter.
Absolutely.
And in a game where the Pacers outscored the Thunder in every single quarter, except for the fourth quarter where they got outscored 31-17, this was, to a lot of fans, this was the series. Pacers had a chance to go up 3-1. They're on their home court. You got Reggie Miller with the jersey. You have all these former Indiana Pacers greats in the house, and you blow it down the stretch. Nobody was able to come up big for the Pacers. And on a night, Nick, where the Thunder shot 3 of 16 from three-point land, 18.8%, they're still able to get the dub on the road, thus winning back home court advantage. What were your thoughts after this sort of choke job by the Indiana Pacers?
I thought it was over, and I still think that. I thought that loss by the Pacers sealed their fate, unfortunately, and I'm rooting for the Pacers. So it sucked to see. You're up 7 going into the fourth quarter. You have the chance to take a 3-1 lead in a series where you were so far from the favorite that everyone is in shock by the performances and the games you're winning. You go up 3-1. You get to come back to game 6 if you lose game 5 to Indiana and win 4-2 in your home court. You blow the 7-point lead. You let SGA walk all over you when he wasn't having a great game to begin with. I thought this opportunity was completely squandered, will go down in history as one of the chances for one of the biggest underdogs, the biggest preseason underdog, 66-1 odds to win the championship. The lowest odds ever were the Warriors, 28-1 in 2015. This is double the odds, more. And you have a chance to defy history, or as you'd say in Wicked, defy gravity. But I digress. The point being, I was really bummed because I thought the Pacers played a perfect 3 quarters to put themselves in a position to win 3-1, and they blew it. I know we're going to get to the game after that, but again, having an opportunity, blowing it time after time, a lot of really small mistakes, really bad turnovers. It's not just Siakam that doesn't show up. It's you have a bunch of really talented, let's say you have the Pacers are made up of a bunch of really slightly above average players, right? You have Nesmith, who can drill threes, but he chooses not to shoot that much. You have Nembhard, who's a lockdown defender on SGA, but then decides games he doesn't shoot the ball once. You have Miles Turner, who all of a sudden could shoot threes, but then gets in foul trouble most of the time. You have Mathurin, who could jump off the bench. Was this the game where he had 27? Was it game? No, it was the game before that.
He had 8 in this one.
Yeah, you have Mathurin, you have McConnell in game 5. Like, you have all these guys, and then you have that one rare anomaly where not one of them steps up. And what game are you ever going to win in basketball when one of the 9 guys in your rotation is not having the balls to take a shot?
You did not mention Obi Toppin.
Sorry, that's a crime. I love Obi Toppin, and he's had an amazing series. I love Obi Toppin.
Like, if the Pacers were to win this series, right? Siakam probably gets MVP, followed by Halliburton, right? It would probably be those two. If you had to give me a third guy for MVP, I might, like, if you're doing the 3 stars thing like they used to do in hockey, I don't know if they still do that. I don't really watch hockey. I would give that third star to Toppin. I mean, he had 17 points in this one, 7 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block, 1 assist in 29 minutes. He has been really consistent for them. So shout out to Obi Toppin, former New York Knick.
He's 3 is fire. He's a good defender. He's a great rebounder and just an athlete, dude. Like, that guy could fly.
Yeah, I'm surprised that, he didn't have more success in New York with the Knicks. Really good player. They let him go.
I wonder if that has anything to do with the fans just putting so much pressure on their players they don't want to play there. But what do I know?
I do. So you talked a little bit about SGA's, controversial push-off mid-range bucket on Naismith. It's funny. More important than that shot, I think that 3 he made was it when the Pacers were up 4. And then Shea pulled up for 3, I think to make it like 92-91, I think it was, with like 4 or 5 minutes left. That to me was such a huge moment because before that, the Thunder had like 1 or 2 made threes. They could not hit shit. Shea goes, he hits that 3. All of a sudden, it's a 1-point game, and that kind of got him cooking. He starts getting fouled. This is also the game where I think it was Mathurin had a lot of stupid fouls down the stretch where he was.
I wonder this, and you're playing a Thunder team, and we'll get to the next game, where Jalen Williams is driving like 12 to 15 times a game, and not one person takes a charge. And, okay, I'm joking around the push-off. It could have been called a push-off. It doesn't matter. They shouldn't have been in the position to lose that game anyway. The push-off was just, the icing on the cake that the Thunder had completely turned the tide. But this Pacers team, Nesmith gets such dumb fouls. There's fouls where, like, who was it? It was a big man on the Thunder. It might have been SGA, where he had him like great defense with 1 second left on the shot clock, and SGA's doing a fadeaway floater, and Nesmith slaps his arm with 1 second left. There's plays where Williams is driving, Holmgren is driving. They don't take charges, and I'm not saying it's an easy thing to do. Taking a charge is a scary thing to do. You are going to get hit hard, and you have to let them hit you with the full extent of their body. With that said, if you're playing a team, SJ loves to drive and push off for a fadeaway. Jalen Williams loves to drive. Holmgren loves to drive because his 3 is in space right now. It's so far from planet Earth. Why are they choosing to jump and try to block when you just got to sometimes cop a body?
So let me get this straight. Your message to the Indiana Pacers as someone who's been rooting for them is stop being a bunch of pussies. Put your body on the line and take more charges.
You got guys who do that in basketball, and those are the intangible things that need to be done. Look at Caruso. Caruso will take a charge from Miles Turner at full speed, who's probably one of the biggest guys on the court. So I do think sometimes that's what separates these really low point games going into the fourth quarter with a couple minutes left.
We got to talk about Caruso's stat line. He was unbelievable. First of all, okay, Jalen Williams, 27 points, 7 rebounds, 11 of 11 from the free throw line, 8 of 18 from the field. His game was overshadowed by SGA's dominance, but we're going to get to J-Dub in a second because game 5 was really his game to shine. Caruso had 20 points off the bench, 7 of 9 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3, 5 of 7 from the line, 5 steals, Nick. Caruso has been so good for OKC in this series. He has been more important than Cason Wallace and Aaron Wiggins and Isaiah Joe. He has been that sixth man that when they brought him in from Chicago, this is what they had envisioned, right? Remember, OKC was a really good team last year, and they were just missing that veteran presence. Caruso has been that and then some. He has been fantastic for them, and he really showed up in game 4.
When you have an SGA J-Dub combination that's already better than the Halliburton Siakam combination, you need your Matherins, your McConnells, your Toppins to be better than their Carusos. And when their Caruso is out defending your backups, when they're Caruso, right now as an audience member watching these games, when Caruso shoots a 3, they all look good. Caruso is playing with the utmost confidence. He takes charges. He defends the best guy sometimes in the other team. He was defending Jokic in those last few games against the Nuggets in that series. So it's really hard to beat a team that not only is more top heavy than you with talent, if you're letting that middle talent and that lower talent tier of your team beat you. And let's talk about a guy like, I'm going to forget his first name. Is it Aaron Wiggins or it's Aaron Wiggins?
Yeah, Andrew Wiggins is the guy from Kansas. No, he's not his brother. Did you say his brother? Andrew Wiggins was on Minnesota.
I know who Andrew Wiggins is.
And then Golden State, and Miami.
His brother's Aaron Wiggins.
I don't think they're brothers.
Aaron Wiggins, how are you letting a guy nobody knows his first name be a score, hit shots? So
time out. We're getting into different games because he did nothing in game 4. So
I'm just saying in general. I'm saying in general.
Right. Okay. Are we done with game 4? Anything else on this game 4? Can we move on to game 5?
We can move on to game 5.
All right. Game 5, Monday night, series tied 2-2. What did we get, Nick? We got an absolutely ridiculous game from Jalen Williams. You mentioned it. Every time he wanted to get to the rim, he got there with ease. He puts up a 40-burger in the NBA Finals. And I'll tell you this, Nick, if they win in 6 and J-Dub outperforms SGA, you can make a case. You could make an argument that Jalen Williams should be the Finals MVP because since game 1, his stat lines has just gone up and up and up, and he has been really good for this Thunder team.
He looks incredible. If you have him and SGA hot, you're not going to win the game. I said this yesterday to a buddy. Unless you're shooting over 50% as the Pacers team, if 2 stars in the squad are going off, you're screwed. Yeah. Listen, last night was the Jalen Williams playoff homecoming party because even for someone like me who's a diehard basketball fan, I did not realize the capacity of his game. I did not realize what he had in his wheelhouse. I knew he was a freak athletically. I knew he could drive. His finishes are phenomenal. Both hands, both sides of the ball, but both sides of the hoop. But I did not realize he could shoot. He hit like a Dirk fadeaway off of one leg from the left elbow towards the end of the game to kind of seal a double-digit lead. So extremely impressed. For him to score 40, for SGA to score 30, I think it said they scored or assisted on 103 of the 120 points. Yeah. You're not winning that game.
Yeah, I think I've known how good Jalen Williams is for a while. I think the first few games of this series, he was trying to find, his rhythm, right? I think when you play with a guy in SGA, who's one of the more ball-dominant scoring guards in the league, it can be a little bit difficult to find your rhythm playing second fiddle. And you've seen Jalen Williams, and I was talking about it with Stephen Shea last week, like his shot selection doesn't look great at times. But I think it's really just because he's trying to get into a rhythm. So you'll see him force a mid-range, force a 3, shoot early in the shot clock, but that is him trying to get into the zone. And it all just culminated in yesterday's performance. He goes for 40 on 14 of 25 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3, 9 of 12 from the line, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Just a complete game from Jalen Williams. SGA chips in 31. He goes to the line 14 times, and he goes 13 of 14 with 10 assists. So he goes from having 0 assists, SGA, to 10 assists. And that was really the story of this game. The other sort of storyline we took from this game is an absolute stinker from your boy Tyrese Halliburton. It does come out that he has a severe calf injury and he's kind of questionable for game 6. But 0 of 6 from the field, 0 of 4 from three-point land. He had 3 turnovers, 3 personal fouls, and he got 4 points from the line. There were a lot of people who were saying that maybe you throw TJ McConnell in over him down the stretch. McConnell was insane. McConnell was nuts in this game.
Professor McConnell from Harry Potter.
I mean, in that third quarter, it seemed like the game was over, right? Thunder were beating them at half, and then Indiana outscores OKC 34-28 in the third. McConnell just goes off. He hits a 3. He has a few tough layups. He has the and 1. He finishes with 18 points, 4 assists, 2 steals.
I think his foot was on the line. I think it was a 2. I think his foot was on the line.
I think he did not have. Wait, let me see. Oh no, he had 1 3.
He had 1 3. Okay.
He was 1 of 2 from 3. Yeah, but he's fantastic, and he really single-handedly he kept Indiana in this ball game. Without him, this is a blowout. Indy cuts it to 2 with, I want to say, 5 or 6 minutes left. I mean, they made it a game, and then OKC just runs away with it. Too much of the role players for OKC. Aaron Wiggins, 14 points off the bench. He hits 4 3-pointers. Cason Wallace, 11 points off the bench. He hits 3 3-pointers. Your boy, Nick, Lou Dort, 3 of 6 from three-point land. He gets 9 points and 8 rebounds. So, what happens is when you're at home, the role players play better. The fact that Indiana lost that game 4, it killed them for this game. They were never really in it. Yeah, they had a shot in the fourth, but too much J-Dub, too much SGA, too little of Tyrese Halliburton. And while Siakam was phenomenal in this one, he had 28 points, Nick. That was, and I mentioned McConnell's brilliant performance. That was really it. Nobody else for the Pacers did much. Andrew Nembhard was awful. 4 turnovers for
3 turnovers in the fourth quarter, probably in the last 6 or 7 minutes, that all resulted in buckets or momentum into buckets. And there was like a 4 or 5 point game at one point, and he just turned it over. It was terrible. And these were like telegraphed passes directly to the other team at the top of the key for a wide open fast break.
What I found crazy is I would argue Andrew Nembhard's probably the best 3-point shooter on the team, Nick. Either him or Naismith.
Are you just saying that off instinct? I don't know statistically.
I'm asking you. No. I'm just asking you. If you had to guess.
The playoffs, Toppin has to be shooting the highest percentage from 3. Him and Naismith have to be. Toppin and Naismith. Nembhard's had an off-shooting playoffs. They were saying his regular season, maybe, which is what you're referring to, was really consistent. And in playoff season, I'll give him this. He's supposed to be guarding SGA the entire game. That takes a lot out of you. That's fine. You're not scoring because you're locking down. You're not locking down. You're not scoring because you're minimizing SGA. Fine. If that's your role. But to do that, to not score, be a starter, and commit awful turnovers in crunch time and multiple awful turnovers, you right now are a detriment. You are a net negative. So I like Nembhard. I am a Nembhard stan. I like Nembhard. I like a lot of these guys on the team. They just have not, in these past 2 games, seemed to all be in sync together. And the only other thing I want to say about this game, mentioning TJ McConnell, you do not get, 18 points? You do not get an 18-point performance out of a 33-year-old TJ McConnell bringing you back into this game. You don't get that often. That is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to take advantage. You were within 3 points of this game in the second half because of TJ McConnell's performance, and you blow that chance to have the TJ McConnell game. He single-handedly was like, hey, all of you are sucking. No one can hit a shot. I'm going to get us back into it. All I need you to do is put 10 minutes of decent basketball together. That, to me, is just as blown of an opportunity as game 4. where you're going into the fourth quarter up 7 points, because a player does a once in a lifetime performance to give you a window, and a good window in this game. So to me, that's 2 blown games. I don't see a world in which the Thunder don't win the series.
Yeah, so I do also think that like Halliburton's awful game had a lot to do with this, because obviously he was in there down the stretch, not McConnell. He's a leader, right? So you lead by example. Siakam did his job. I mean, Siakam had a really nice game scoring. Yeah, he turned the ball over 6 times, but him and McConnell were the 2 leading scorers. For Halliburton to play as poorly as he did, if you're on the Pacers and you're looking to your leader who's supposed to have your back in the finals, and he's putting up a shit performance, it's got to be hard for those other guys to get up in the fourth and say, well, the guy who's literally single-handedly won us games against the Cavs, the Bucks, the Knicks, game 1 against the Thunder, he can't move, right? Like, he's out there, he's giving it an effort, but they're watching him crumble. They're seeing Siakam try to basically be Michael Jordan and just take over the game. At some point, listen, like those miracles, right? That game 1 against the Knicks where the Pacers were out and they somehow came back off the shooting of Naismith, Aaron Naismith, and then the big shot by Halliburton. Like, you can only have so many of those moments before the magic is run out. And to me, that's what that game was yesterday. If Aaron Naismith hits a few more threes, or if Andrew, by the way, my point before, Andrew Nembhard only shot 2 threes. He is a starting shooting guard on this team. He should shoot more than 2 threes. But my point is, like, if Halliburton's not going to be there for you and Siakam is your only source of offense, it's going to be difficult to defeat a Thunder team that lost 14 games the entire season. So that was it. And I do want to mention, the one guy. So you talked about Miles Turner having a disappointing series. I think he's had to do a lot for this team. I think the fact that the Pacers don't really have a true backup 5, and you're seeing Tony Bradley come in yesterday, and
why isn't Thomas Bryant playing more when he had?
I don't know.
Against the Knicks, he could shoot. He's big. He must really have a gap in his game that we don't know, maybe defensively, rotationally. I don't know, but they're going to Bradley over Bryant, and Bryant actually can contribute on offense.
I don't think that either of those guys are great options as a backup 5. I think Turner's been asked to do a lot in this series in terms of switching, having to cover smaller guys. Tell me, the one other thing I want to point out here, do you think that Chet Holmgren has had a good series?
No, I think he looks so meek. He looks so meek. Like, he's afraid of the ball. He's only hitting layups and dunks that are point blank range and putbacks. His layups look off. His threes look terrible. He also fouls very stupidly and then gets very frustrated. I didn't know a lot about Holmgren until really these playoffs. I didn't watch a lot of Thunder games in the regular season. He seems just still very green, immature, very easily frustrated. He's very lanky and pushed around by like someone like a Miles Turner or a Bradley. So I'm not super impressed with Holmgren. I understand the potential of the game of a 7-footer who could shoot and dribble, but I'm not seeing right now. If they win this year with what I see as like a 4 out of 10 Holmgren in terms of what he can get to, they're going to be freaking dangerous if they keep those 3 together of SGA, Jalen, and Holmgren. Because if Holmgren plays 20% better, I think they're virtually unstoppable.
Yeah, no, I agree. And the reason I asked that was because I saw a lot of people on Twitter like praising Holmgren's performance. And offensively, he has been not great. Misses a lot of shots. To me, I think Caruso has had more of an impact on this series than Chet Holmgren has. Now, I will say, in terms of being a rim protector, he's very good. It is hard to drive and get a clean layup or a clean look at the basket if Chet Holmgren is in between you and the basket. So defensively, he's been really good. Rebounding, he has had, a few games. I believe in this one, he finished with 11 rebounds. And then in game 4, I believe he had 14 rebounds. So 15 rebounds in game 4. So he has been on the glass. Defensively, he's been great. I guess me being a fan of beautiful offense, I know that he's capable of a lot more. The one thing I do want to see him develop in the offseason, he's got to get himself some type of bag. Like whether it's a post-up game, whether it's a go-to dribble move, that is the one thing I'm seeing that he's lacking from his offensive game. In that game 3 loss and in game 4 a little bit, there were a few of those plays where he would just try to straight line to the basket on Miles Turner, and Miles Turner would be like, get the fuck out of here. Like, what are you doing? Like, he would either stuff him or...
He looks like somebody who's used to just being able to walk all over people. And now he can't because you're in the big leagues, baby.
Right. So to me, this is a really good learning experience for him. I agree. The fact that he's not having a great series offensively or not, they're on the verge of winning the NBA championship, that is going to be fucking frightening for the rest of the league when he comes into his own. And we see that, I'm not going to say it's going to be a Jokic leap, but there's definitely room for him to be a lot better and just contribute more to this Thunder offense, similar to what SGA and J-Dub are doing. So yeah, overall, I haven't been crazy about his offense or his series, but I wanted to make sure you and I were on the same page there.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into it. This next segment is off-season hot goss. So we're going to start, Nick. There was a trade in the NBA. We're not even going to get to the Indiana trade because I don't give two fucks about Indiana, who's in the finals, making a trade with the Pelicans, surrounding picks, whatever. I don't care about that. Desmond Bane gets traded to the Orlando Magic for 4 first-rounders and KCP. What do you think of this trade, Nick?
Cole Anthony?
Yeah. And was it Cole Anthony? I didn't see I know it was 4 first-rounders, but yeah, it might have been. I got to look at the whole trade.
I thought the Grizzlies just won the lottery. I don't understand what the Magic think Desmond Bane, do they think Desmond Bane is Kevin Durant? This is a superstar caliber trade in terms of what you're giving up. I think the Magic, who made the playoffs this year, who put up a good fight in the playoffs. Who was it against the Celtics? They lost. It might have been, I think it was 4-1, but still had some game. Was it 4-2? Some games they could have won. And you're telling me you're going to dismantle your future for Desmond Bane? Who is the 2 on the Grizzlies, but I almost still like Jaren Jackson more. So I might even call him the 3 on the Grizzlies in terms of overall value. I mean, I think Orlando just sealed their fate for the next 5 years to be a 7th seed at best that gets out in the first round. Maybe 1 year they'll make a second round. I'm in shock. That is no disrespect to Desmond Bane, but Desmond Bane to me is like a poor man's Bradley Beal. He's a solid shooting guard who could hit open shots, who was a good complement to Ja Morant. I cannot justify that in my head. Please tell me you have some sort of rationale for it.
Well, I just want to say the actual trade. So the Orlando Magic got Desmond Bane. The Grizzlies got Cole Anthony, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, 4 first-round picks, the 16th pick in 2025, unprotected first-round picks in 2026, 2028, and 2030, and a 2029 first-round pick swap, top 2 protected.
The dude's not even an all-star.
Here's what I think, okay? The East is kind of wide open right now, right? The Pacers are in the NBA Finals, and nobody predicted they would be there. Boston is going to be missing Jason Tatum for the majority of next season. Are the Cavs for real? They haven't proven it yet. Are the Knicks for real? They haven't really proven it yet. So if you're Orlando, you're thinking, what move can I make to improve this team? Because we put up a good fight against the reigning champion Boston Celtics in the first round. The Magic were one of the worst 3-point shooting teams in the playoffs. They did not have a lot of guys that can hit the 3. What you get in Bane is you get one of the premier 3-point shooters in the league. You get a guy who can defend, and you get a guy who's lived in the playoffs. Since him and Ja have been there, they live in the playoffs, and you get one of the biggest competitors in the league. Desmond Bane's one of those guys. If you look at the stats, you're not going to see the whole picture. If you watch him play, he's a winner. He can hit big shots. He's got a nice offensive game. I
So you're
think
telling
that
me they're giving up their future picks for a slim chance of winning the championship in 2026.
I like the pick. I think he helps their roster a lot. I think that, you know, him and Suggs, they kind of do what the other doesn't. Like, I think Suggs is more of an athlete. Suggs is going to give you more of those diving on the ground for loose
Wagner,
balls.
Suggs, and Bane. So who are you playing?
Suggs is going to come off the bench. I believe he's going to be the sixth man. And you'll start Anthony Black, I believe is his name, at point guard.
Wait, I'm sorry. So what position's Bane? Shooting guard?
Shooting guard. So Wagner would be the 3, and then Banchero's the 4.
Who's the 5?
Wendell Carter Jr.
Okay.
That would be it right now. I don't listen. I like it. I like the pickup. If I was going to give it a grade, I give the trade a B+ for the Magic. Yeah, you gave up a lot to get him. You saw what Mikal Bridges went for to the Knicks. Like, if you think that Desmond Bane is the piece to go win a championship, then that's what you do. And I like the fit. I really do. My only question is look, you're good at shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and then your sixth man. I don't know about Anthony Black as your point guard. He's young, he's unproven, and I don't know if Wendell Carter Jr. is who you want at the 5. I kind of can see Magic.
Suggs and Wagner, Banchero, and a new 5. Like, a new 5 to me helps that team more than a new 2. Like, if you're telling me you have a combination of like Banchero and a Miles Turner, or Banchero and a Siak, like something with a big man that could play. Yeah, man. I don't know. I like the Magic. I liked watching them. I was rooting for them, obviously, because I hate the Celtics and the Knicks. So you're going to root for the Magic and the Pistons. Do I think the Magic give themselves a top 3 or 4 chance in the East? I don't.
Okay. Next up in this off-season hot goss, where is Kevin Durant going? Former Brooklyn Net, Kevin Durant. So here's the update, Nick. Teams that want Kevin Durant: the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Houston Rockets, the San Antonio Spurs, the Miami Heat, the Toronto Raptors, the Los Angeles Clippers. The teams that Kevin Durant doesn't want. He doesn't want Minnesota, and he doesn't want Toronto. Here are the teams that KD does want. KD does want Houston. He wants San Antonio. He wants Miami, and he wanted the New York Knicks.
Who don't want
teams that don't want Kevin Durant. The New York Knicks. Listen, I love what KD gave to Brooklyn in those several years he was here. Some of the most exciting basketball that we've watched since the J. Kidd era. And I totally acknowledge that Joe Johnson, Darren Williams, Paul Pierce, KG era was not exciting as when KD was a Net or with the Kidd-led Nets. So respect to former Brooklyn Nets great Kevin Durant. It's so funny that, like, this is what it's come to. That teams don't want Kevin Durant. That Kevin, at Kevin Durant's age, figure out how old he is for me, please, if you can.
37.
At his age, he's 37.
He's turning 37 before the next season.
He's still with the drama. He's still with this, I want to play here. I don't want to play here. Dude, because Minnesota's a little cold. You don't want to go to Minnesota because Toronto's in Canada. You don't want to go to Canada. Like, the whole thing is just, bro, you're a hooper, all right? Phoenix is trying to get the best return for you. Play hoops. Now, the one thing I will say about Phoenix that I find funny is, when KD requested the trade in Brooklyn, Sean Marks sent him to Phoenix because that was one of the places he wanted to play. That was, I think, one of his top spots. The Suns aren't going to do that. If the Suns' best offer is from Toronto or Minnesota, he's going there. You know what I'm saying? So I find the whole saga funny. What do you make of it?
Listen, KD, look at his numbers, man. He's still averaging like over 25 a game, shooting over 50%. Like, I think it's closer to 27, like 52 or something, if I'm remembering correctly. He's still a superstar, but a superstar with a ticking clock. I'd be shocked if he could have 2 more years total of this style of play. With that said, some of the teams you listed he's interested in, that are interested in him, you're looking at a Rockets team that won a playoff series against the Lakers this year with a lot of young guys who are going to stick around.
Wait a minute. You're wrong. That's not what happened.
Who the Rockets beat?
The Rockets lost to the Warriors in the first round. The Timberwolves beat the Lakers in the first round.
Oh, you're right. Okay, let me rephrase. The Rockets with Kevin Durant I think can actually go deep in the playoffs. I think Udoka is a great coach. Fuck the Timberwolves. Timberwolves are never going to win. I think Udoka is a great coach, and I actually think that's a really smart pick for Durant. I think the Heat is a very smart pick for Durant. Hero, Durant, Adebayo, that's a big three I could watch play. A guy like Jaquez coming in as that 4 or 5. Who do you have? D-Rob coming in off the bench. I like, obviously, they're probably going to have to give up a lot of those guys. I like the Heat, and I like Spoelstra. I like that direction. Spurs, I could see a little bit. Wemby and Durant's kind of funky to me, but I could see that having an impact. I think he goes to a team like the Knicks and a team like the Clippers, and I know the Knicks don't want him, to me are where superstar careers go to die. Look at the history with Carmelo. Look at all the guys who went to the Clippers. Kawhi, you got Harden, you got Westbrook, Paul George. Like, that to me is basically saying, I'm going to try to overload a team with veterans. That's going to always be a 5 or 4 seed and never get any further. I like a couple of those options for KD, and I still think KD has a lot to give, and I still think he could be a huge piece on a championship contending team. You shouldn't be building around him. You should be plopping into a place where he could be the go-to guy with another 2 or 3 go-to guys. So listen, I would fight for Durant. I love Durant, but just remember, you get Durant, you want to win in the next 2 years.
I thought it was very funny that the Knicks don't want him. And the reason I say that is because several years ago when he chose Brooklyn, the Knicks publicly wanted him and Kyrie. And the way I see it is like, it's like when you get rejected by that girl in high school and then you graduate college and then she slides in your DMs and, and you're like right out of college and you're just like, I'm not into you anymore. I had a crush on you in high school. It's over. Now you're trying to come to me years later. It's just the interest isn't the same. So I find the whole situation very funny. You gave me where it would be cool to see him. Where do you want to see Kevin Durant get traded to?
Miami Heat. I like the Heat. I like their coaching. I like their role players. I think that's a fun place to play. And the Heat, like the Pacers, are always that team. They were the Pacers of 3 or 4 years ago, where they were coming out of the playoffs with a mediocre team that just worked well together because they were well coached and well disciplined.
So what I've read is the Heat don't want to give up Kel'el Ware, the really tall prospect who's shown some flashes of being great for them. And then the Rockets don't want to give up Jabari Smith Jr. and Tari Eason. So it might become which one of those teams sort of fold and give up those guys. I do not want to see him with the Spurs. I'll tell you why. The Spurs aren't even going to have to give up the number 2 pick in the draft if they trade for KD. They're probably not even going to have to give up Stephon Castle. This is a team that is going to be freaking stacked for years to come. So no, I don't want to see him go to San Antonio. Don't want to see him go to Minnesota or Toronto. I don't want to see KD in a place where he's not going to be pumped. It's going to be too much drama. I would choose the Rockets or the Heat. I think him and Houston can be very fun. Him playing with a bunch of young guys. And I think all Houston would really have to give up for him is Jalen Green. Although Phoenix doesn't want Jalen Green because they think he's too similar to Devin Booker. So you might reroute him to a third team. I agree with you about the Miami Heat. That's where I want to see him traded. But the only reason I want to see him traded to the Heat is so the Knicks have more superstars to deal with in the playoffs. That's it. Reason why I was happy that Desmond Bane got traded to the Magic. I want to see some of these teams in the East, not name the New York Knicks, make moves to beat the New York Knicks so the Nets can stall until the Brooklyn Nets are good again. Because remember, this is a Brooklyn Nets podcast. This is Spenny and the Nets. And we just don't want to see the Knicks ever get close to winning a championship.
I agree.
So I want to see KD in Miami. Okay. So this next segment is called Y'all Want to See a Dead Body. So our good friend Nets Insider on Twitter at NotoriousBKNets retweeted a Josh Hart tweet. So Josh Hart, basically he was golfing and someone asked him how his day was. And he told them, not great, but not bad. Went 298 in the fairway with my mini driver, whatever. So Nets Insider writes, death, taxes, and Knicks golfing in June. MSG, the world's emptiest arena. Decent chirp. Josh Hart responds, that's a good one. Now Google my record against y'all since I became a Knick. So now Josh Hart has awoken the beast that is Nets Twitter, And here's where it gets the replies, Nick, are the reason why this segment is called Y'all Want to See a Dead Body. So the number one reply, Nets Muse writes, got benched for Mitch, and now you're beefing with Nets fans. Your career is in shambles, kid. Jerry Sy writes, hang it up in MSG, and he does a meme banner. And it says, breaking, the Knicks so proud of their recent accomplishments, raise new banner to the rafters. The banner, Josh Hart record versus Nets since he became a Knick. And just everyone on Nets Twitter starts going in on him. Bink, this is at the real Bink1. That's a good one. Now Google your plus minus in the Pacers series. Never seen a dude talk about the Nets so much, but call them irrelevant. It's pretty funny, man. Now, I don't know if you remember this. Josh Hart talked shit about the Nets on his podcast a few weeks ago. While the Knicks were still in the playoffs, he was like, I forgot what the context was, but he basically wanted to say a lot of shit about the Nets, and he just held back. But why? Why are these guys on the Knicks, mainly him? Why are you trying to cut? Like, don't come at Nets fans, man. You're not. First of all, you're not. You didn't have a good series against Indiana. That's number one. Number two, you're not as important to the Knicks as you think you are because you got benched. You're on the trade block right now, and now you're going to go at Nets fans on Twitter, man. Are you serious? Fuck out of here.
I mean, listen. They had an embarrassing loss in the playoffs. They're golfing now. Someone's getting moved on that team. The coach gets fired. I understand Josh Hart wanted to fight, but I think you just picked the wrong horse. Why are you going against Nets people? Nets fans are aggressive, bro. Like, we got nothing to lose. And we know it's funny to me when a Knicks fan talks shit. It's like, bro, talk as much shit as you want. We're both in the same place. We both didn't win. No one remembers 10 years from now if you made it to the second round of the playoffs or if you didn't make the playoffs. They remember if you won the championship. So Knicks fans could chirp all they want, but you have no ground to stand on until you win a championship, if you ever win a championship. So you can talk so much shit. We are even right now, bro. We're even.
Some more replies. They're just funny. Ibrahim Sosa writes, you're an irrelevant bum. Journeyman who thinks he's something because he grabbed Brunson's nuts. I like that one. You missed out when the Nets would give the Knicks the belt when we had KD and Kyrie. Better hope that podcast pans out for you. You will be out of the league in a few years. And he just shared all the stat lines against Indiana. Or no, he shared the one stat line where he was like 4.6 rebounds and just a terrible game. The one thing I will say is this. For him to shit talk us, Josh Hart, do you think you're the reason that the Knicks are 9-0 against the Nets in the last few years? Like, it'd be one thing if it was Jalen Brunson being like, I'm undefeated against you guys, or Julius Randle when he was cooking with the Knicks. When you're the guy, you can talk that talk. When you're the 6th, 7th man on the team and you're like, oh, well, I'm undefeated. Okay, sure. So is the equipment manager since you joined the Knicks. So is the 12. Like, I don't know. That's the part where I'm like, yeah, like maybe you guys are 9-0 against us in the last 9 games, but it's not because of you, dude.
I agree. It's fun. That's entertaining. That's funny.
All right. We move on. This is the last segment, and it's just called Draft Thoughts. So I went into depth with this with Stephen Shea last week. We're not going to touch on all the prospects, but there is a pipe dream, Nick. There is a dream that the Nets somehow get the number 2 pick from the San Antonio Spurs, and they draft Dylan Harper, who's going to be a star point guard. I don't think it happens. I think what's more realistic is the Nets hopefully either land Jeremiah Fears or Ace Bailey, whose draft stock is kind of falling. If they can get one of those guys with the 8th pick, that would be great. What's probably going to happen is the Nets are going to end up with Con Nipple. They're going to end up with Kaman Maluach of Duke, the center. And it's going to be, I think, probably one of those guys, if not Noah Esseng, the young raw talent from, I think he's from France. The one thing I do want to see the Nets do, and they can use Cam Johnson to do this, trade up to the Raptors. The Raptors have the 9th pick. Get rid of Cam Johnson. Get that 9th pick so you're picking 8 and 9. because right now I think after 8, their next pick is 17. And that's where it gets a little bit, the talent kind of drops off after probably 12 or 13. So look, pipe dream, Nets somehow end up with the number 2 pick, and that's probably only going to happen if Kevin Durant gets traded to the Spurs, but probably not. Next up, if we can get Jeremiah Fears or we can get Ace Bailey, that'd be great. Most likely, we're going to end up with a center from Duke, probably going to end up with Knipple from Duke. And hopefully, if you're Sean Marks,
that
they're not bad. And
fills 2 gaps
right.
for me. Fills 2 gaps.
That's it. Yeah. No, I mean, listen, that's realistically what's going to happen. If anything else happens, if the Nets don't trade up in the draft and they end up with a guy like Carter Bryant or Derek Queen or Colin Murray Boyles at 8, and that's it, I'm going to be very disappointed. All
Listen, right. I at this point, our future is so uncertain, and we don't know which draft players, which prospects are going to end up being franchise players. Your guess is as good as mine. If I had to put money down on Knipple being the guy, think he'll be a solid shooter. Maybe a better Joe Harris. I love you, Joe Harris. Then you got a guy like Malach, who's not Jewish, but a big body we've always slacked on. Claxton never lived up to his hype. Clowney's not living up to his hype. Like, these are guys that I'm not ecstatic about, but I do think they fill a need. You just need one of them. You just need one of them to be good enough to either improve your franchise or be traded for more players that can improve your franchise. So that's the game of it all. To me, I'm not worried. I'm just kind of at this point where let's hope that whoever we go with is going to shock the world, because if you look at some of these guys on the Thunder, you look at some of these guys on the Pacers, look at these 2 championship rosters contending for an NBA championship. A lot of these guys were late first round. Some were second round. So who knows whether we get a 9th pick, whether we have the 27th pick, which guy's going to do what. So keep a smile on your face, buddy boy. Who knows what's going to happen.
Jalen Williams drafted number 12th overall.
Yeah.
Apologize for the mic dropping before.
30th? Wasn't SGA 30th?
Yeah, he was up there. Apologies for the mic dropping and making that sound. Apologies for putting my chin beard up against the camera.
SGA was 11th overall.
11th. Apologies for putting my chin beard against the camera for those watching. I just wanted to figure out when the NBA draft was, and it is June 25th at 8 p.m. So we will, let's see when that is on the calendar. That's Wednesday of next week. So we will have an episode out next week. We'll figure out if it's going to be before or after the draft. But thank you to everyone for listening to episode 226 of Spenny and the Nets. Nick, any final words for the listeners?
Stay true to yourself.
That's it?
Yep.
You don't want to say like Nets, Devils, Broncos, Red Sox, like your shirt?
No, but I think the Pacers will send it to 7. So I'll say Thunder and 7.
All right. There you've had it. Thanks for listening to another edition of Spenny and the Nets.